As he entered the gates of Bethany, with love in his eyes for you, knowing what he was to do, palm leaves underfoot, praise rising, those who would soon be despising, kingly grace, determined to face.
A final meal with friends who he bestowed with his truth. He would give his body and spill his blood for all not just, those who are worthy. But without him, who can be? Those closest expecting their own perfection, finding hearts full of sin's dereliction, as he looked upon the cross.
He brought his people to the garden, a time to pray, to be renewed. He knew what was to come, that for us to be made whole, he would be undone. God's plan in action was charged with sins not of his own, cleaning us of our iniquities. He declared, not my will, but yours.
Selfless love without bounds, atop a cross driven into the ground. This is where our salvation is found. Nails holding up flesh, the pain is immense. Only a true love can make this make sense. He did it for me, he did it for you.
Days of darkness broken by the light of truth. Life bursts forth, death is beaten. An empty grave, souls freed from hopelessness and bondage. His love conquered all, he willingly endured it for you. This is the good news of Easter.
This is the good news of Easter. He willingly endured it for you. His love conquered all hopelessness and bondage. Souls freed from an empty grave. Life bursts forth. Death is beaten. Days of darkness broken by the light of truth. He did it for me. He did it for you. Only a true love can make this make sense. Nails holding up flesh in pain immense. This is where our salvation is found. Atop a cross driven into the ground. Selfless love without bounds declared, not my will but yours. Cleanness of our iniquities, he was charged with sins not of his own. God's plan in action, that for us to be made whole, he would be undone. He knew what was to come. A time to pray, to be renewed, he brought his people to the garden. As he looked upon the cross, finding hearts full of sin's dereliction, and those closest expecting their own perfection. But without him, who can be those who are worthy? He would give his body and spill his blood for all, not just friends who he'd bestowed with his truth. A final meal with kingly grace, determined to face those who would soon be despising, palm leaves underfoot with praise rising, knowing what he was to do, with love in his eyes for you, as he entered the gates of Bethany.